Welcome to Bedtime Stories for Kids. Thanks for joining us to listen to this magical story. Before we begin, don't forget to hit subscribe so you never miss a new story. Let's lie back, relax, and get comfortable. Once upon a time in a land far away there was a woodcarver. His name was Geppetto, and he made puppets. He was alone without a wife and he wanted a son very much. One day he managed to carve a very beautiful wooden boy from an old magical oak tree. He named the puppet Pinocchio. If only Pinocchio were alive and not wooden, sighed Geppetto, praying to the heavens on the evening before bed. He believed that his lucky star was shining on him. At night, while Geppetto slept, a star came down from the sky and turned into a fairy called Glimmer. "I will grant you your wish, Geppetto," whispered the small fairy, waving her magic through the air. At that moment, Pinocchio opened his eyes as he came to life. "I am alive. Like a real boy." Pinocchio rejoiced. "Yes, but you must be honest, caring and brave. Know right from wrong and make Geppetto happy," said the fairy. "But how do I know what's good and what's bad?" Pinocchio asked. "You have to choose wisely. If you lie, your nose will grow longer and everyone will see," the fairy instructed him and disappeared in a blink of an eye. When Geppetto woke up the next morning, he was overjoyed that he finally had a son. He couldn't believe how lucky he was. Pinocchio helped him, but after a few days he wanted to go to school. "Daddy," said Pinocchio, "I want to go to school like real children." So Geppetto used the money he saved to buy school things and books. Pinocchio took the things, said thank you, and started on his way to school. As he walked, he heard happy music. Because he was curious, he went out of his way to see where it came from. There was a huge circus tent a short distance from the road. Pinocchio longed to look inside and immediately asked how he could get in. "You have to buy a ticket," said the man standing outside the big tent. "But I don't have any money. Only books for school." So Pinocchio traded the books for a ticket to the circus. The wooden puppets were performing a show on the stage. Pinocchio saw that they looked like him, so he joined them dancing around. The owner of the circus, when he saw a puppet that moved by itself, thought that such a puppet would be great for the circus. He caught Pinocchio and locked him in a box. Pinocchio explained that he couldn't stay there, that he had to go to school or his dad would come looking for him. He explained he was just curious about the show, but now just wanted to go home. "Oh, boy. Well, here's your books back, your money, and off you go." He let Pinocchio out of the cage. Pinocchio took the books, said thank you, and headed off to school. Now he knew what a mistake he had made, and he resolved to do the right thing next time. Soon a cunning fox crossed his path. "Where are you going, little boy?" "To school. I'll show you a magic place you'll like better than school." And so Pinocchio went out of the way and let the fox take him into the woods. It was a beautiful wood. The fox wasn't lying as it did feel magical. Soon he saw there was candy and sweets everywhere, toys and lots of children as big as him. "These will be friends," he thought excitedly. Only, after playing there for a while, he noticed something pressing on his head. He felt his head and felt his ears grow and become covered with hair. He looked in the mirror. He had grown donkey ears. And a tail. The forest was enchanted. Again he didn't know what was right, and he believed the fox. He ran as fast as his legs would carry him to get back to safety. When he finally got out of the enchanted forest, his ears and tail were gone. But as Pinocchio ran, he wasn't even paying attention to where he was going or where he would end up. He ended up at the seaside. Suddenly he heard voices and footsteps behind him. "It must be the fox from the enchanted forest chasing me," he thought, and quickly jumped into the water. Pinocchio swam and wondered how he was going to get out of this mess. Then a whale appeared in front of him, opened its giant mouth and swallowed Pinocchio whole. Pinocchio made his way into its belly, where a man was sitting sadly. "Daddy? Is that you?" Pinocchio said with joy when he recognized Geppetto, and jumped into his arms. "My Pinocchio! Why, I have looked for you everywhere. Where have you been?" "When I went to school this morning, I was ambushed by robbers and dragged away. I couldn't resist them. Pinocchio began to lie, but no sooner had he finished, his nose started to itch and slowly it grew twice its length. And when they found out I was just a wooden puppet, they threw me into the sea, Pinocchio continued, but his nose grew longer and longer. Really? Geppetto asked. Yes, lied Pinocchio, but his nose had grown so big again that it could hardly fit into the whale's belly. And that's when Pinocchio felt ashamed. You're not supposed to lie, he realized. And so, although he was very ashamed of all the mistakes he had made, he explained to Geppetto how it really was. Once he confessed, his nose shrank back to its original size. Geppetto, in return, told him how he had gone looking for him. When he found him nowhere on land, he sailed out to sea on a boat. But the whale swallowed him. By the time the two of them were done talking, the whale got tired and fell asleep. And because it slept so deeply, both Geppetto and Pinocchio could easily escape from the whale's blowhole. They both returned home, happy to be safe and warm. In the evening, in front the roaring fire, Glimmer the fairy appeared in their house. She asked Pinocchio how he was doing. Pinocchio confessed that he didn't know right from wrong. He was scared the fairy would turn him back into a puppet, but the fairy just laughed. At least now you know what's right. You were brave and honest. In the end, you figured out that you shouldn't lie. We learn to know right from wrong all our lives. So learn from your mistakes and become a real boy. The fairy waved her wand and Pinocchio became a real boy with brown curly hair and blue eyes. From then on, he knew that he must not trust everyone right away, that he should listen to Geppetto and never lie. And so Geppetto and his Pinocchio lived together happily ever after. Thank you for listening to our story. Remember to like and subscribe so you never miss another upload.